Hello people, how are you doing? How was your day, by the way? Mine was good. And so today we are going to talk about the args in Python. So basically, Python allows you to have functions with varying number of arguments. So when you use the args as a function parameter, it enables you to pass an arbitrary number of arguments to that function, or that's supposed to be a varying number of arguments to that function. This is the case when you want to pass an array or a list to a function. So the args now becomes the better one for you. So to understand this, we can do this through a simple example so that we can basically get what is happening. So you may have a function that basically takes in one argument. For example, let's call it printer. It is taking one argument and basically it is returning that argument. So let's return and to see the output, we can print it at this point like this. Call this function with now one argument, for example 5. So when we do it this way, we get 5 as the output. But now here comes the problem, because suppose I want to print like 5, 6, 7, 8 like that, but when I do it this way, we get an error because it is taking more than one argument at this point. So that's why we are getting this error. So to solve this, this is now the point where the args keyword comes in. So to do that, we start with an asterisk and then followed by the args, and then basically we return args, this time around with no asterisk at that point. So when we do it this way, then we get these values printed out as a tuple. It is very important, so because you need to pass it as a tuple at this point. And we get the output as 5, 6, 7, 8, and our problem is solved. Now the next thing, I will show you the main advantage of using the args keyword in solving a problem. For example, in finding the maximum value in, say, like this tuple. You may want to find the maximum value in this tuple. So basically in this case it is 8 and the minimum value is 5. So if you want to find the maximum value, then this one now becomes the best for you. So this approach is very important, because I will show you another thing, and that is the named argument. Because if we pass like x at this point, now this x is a named argument which now becomes this 5, and now this args takes in 6, 7 and 8. This is very important. So for us to be able to find the maximum value in this tuple, then what we need to do is to basically, as usual, initialize the maximum as x, because this x is now the first element at this point 5. And if you want to see it in action, then you can print x this point, then you find that x is 5, and this is supposed to be the first element at that point. So let's proceed. We can initialize our max as now the first element, and now our algorithm goes in at this point. So we use a for loop because we are comparing this element, the first element, with the rest. So we do 5, we compare with 6, then return the highest or the maximum, then we proceed like 3 times because we are comparing like 3 times. Okay, so what we need to do is to use a for loop that does this 3 times. So for I in range, and now 3 times is supposed to be the length of this args, like that. Then what we simply need to do is to put now our condition at this point. So we compare if this value is greater than the next value. That's supposed to be the next value. That's how we get the next value of these values now. And if this is true, then we need to assign our maximum value to the max. That's how we know that this max is the highest. Else, what we do is to assign the maximum to the next value, like that. Because if we check like 5, we find 5 is greater than the next value, then we know that 5 is the largest. But if we found that 5 was less than 6, then we know that 6 is the highest value. So at this point now, instead of returning args, we can return now our maximum because we want to find the maximum value. And then we can maybe change a function name to be max, and we call it at this point. So at that point we expect our output as 8 because 8 is the largest of all the values. And that's it. So thank you for watching this video, and I know a little bit confusing, but if you have any query, just ask me in the comment section and I'll be ready for it. So that's it for today. I hope you learned something new. Goodbye, and I'll see you in the next one.